Elric and Divim discuss about the dragons and how only two can be awakened, but it won't be a use to them. Then they talk about the ship that sails both land and sea. Elric read of it in the Silver Grimoire. It was used by an old Melnibonian hero before Melniboné existed. Divim asks Elric if his friends, the water elementals, that promised to aid him won't be able to help. Elric tells his friend about how he is reserved when using magic. Divim remarks he is a sorcerer, and he managed to summon a Chaos Lord. Elric then tells him about the price of magic, and how overstrong potions he is using might kill him before he finds Cimmeril, because they are keeping him strong using what few resources Elric still has. But he concedes he needs to do this, to talk to Strasha. The two of them go to the sea, and there Elric sits cross-legged, trying to remember the rune that summoned the Sea King a few months ago. Divim looks at the albino, and he seemed childlike to him. As Elric performed the ritual, a strong storm came upon them, and Divim understood why his emperor was reluctant to use sorcery. Elric spoke in the old language, and Divim understood just one word: Strasha. In one instant, the Sea King appeared, and this image will haunt Divim for the rest of his life. Strasha says the elements knew Elric invited the Chaos Lords in his plane, and they are not pleased with them, but they understand that it was his destiny to do that, so they do not have any enmity for Elric. The Emperor says if he does not wish, he does not have to help him, but the Sea King tells him he will help Elric, even if it creates trouble in the future. Elric asks about the ship that sails the land and sea. Strasha tells Elric that he knows of the ship. It was made by him and his brother, the Earth King Grom, each giving a part of their power to create it, but Grom did so unwillingly, so the ship sails better on water than on land. Elric asks for this ship, and the Sea King tells him he will get it, but not here, at his tower, and so the King of the Sea disappears. Divim and Elric make their way back. The Lord of the Dragon Caves tells his emperor that he feels the days of Melniboné are numbered, as are his, and that the ship seems to be a double-bladed knife. He also tells Elric he has two sons, 5 Melnibonians. Elric says he never mentioned them. Why do it now? Divim answers that he feels the destiny of the empire is in Elric's hands, so before he does something, he wants him to think of his children. Elric tells him he will do so, but he will never bring ruination to his empire. Divim accepted that, but his eyes did not tell the same story. The next morning, Divim found Elric dressed in armor, with his eyes burning with red vitality. Yet Divim thinks of what he did when he returned to the city. He went to his mistresses and told them to take their children to the dragon caves to prepare them for their training. There was little time left. Divim asks Elric if he is well. The Emperor responds that he is, but he wishes the ship would come. Divim tries to tell him it would be better to rest until the ship was spotted, but Elric was too anxious. Then Elric tells his friend to look over yonder, and there was movement there. The trees parted as Elric's ship came. They get on the ship with some men, not many, in case Irkun decided to attack while they were gone, and a special set of veterans. Divim doesn't trust the ship or the sorcery that made it, but as they sail the land, they get in good spirits and tempt fate, joking that if this was Grom trying to slow them down, then once they reach the sea, they would be unstoppable. Then a turbulence happens, and one of the crew of the ship dies from falling off the sail's rope. So the mood dires. Finally, they reach the sea, and later on they get close to the capital of Oin and Yu. From a big tree, Divim and Elric observe that the capital looks poor, but they have 36 ships, and then there is the mirror of memory that is pointed towards the sea. The capital's poor condition makes a good disguise, and means the mirror can just point in one direction. Elric realizes that they don't have the men for a proper war, so they have to be swift. They will take the ship inland towards their capital, and with a swift move, rescue Cimmeril. They sail in haste, and the earth under them breaks, a giant chasm forming next to the ship, and a giant wave of earth above them. Elric calls to Grom to not kill them, to ask a favor of them but to not kill them. Grom appears and he wants his ship. Elric says that is not his ship to be given, it's Strasha like their bargain dictated. But Grom remembers no bargain, he wants his ship. Divim tries to negotiate if he wants something. Grom is a rough god. but he did not intend to kill 2 Melnibonians in his rage. In exchange for their bodies, Grom will let them use the ship on water. Elric tries to tell him he needs it on land, but the King won't have it. After taking the bodies, Grom disappears. Divim hates to say it, but it seems they need to use Elric's sorcery. The ship sailed its last road on land. Irkun looked upon his prized ships and complimented them. Cymero was there, skinny and worn. She kept saying Elric will come, but Irkun managed to summon demons that told him of his cousin's foolish endeavors. Irkun even managed to open the Shade Gate that will make him the most powerful mortal out there. He takes wine from a woman, then throws it away because it's slop. The woman is obedient and calls him Demon King, and Irkun likes that name. Suddenly, screams are heard. Fire is spreading on the streets of the capital of Oin and Yu. Irkun asks for the treacherous captain and tells him to stop the fire and point the mirror towards the strange ship that is coming at them. The captain says they can't fight the fire. Water simply won't leave their buckets. Those aren't simple barbarians that are coming at them. Irkun tells the captain to do something. And Cymero says that's Elric. But Irkun says it's not. It's some shaman from the steppe. Cymero says it's Elric because she can see his helmet. And it was Elric killing everything around him. The mirror of memory is pointed towards the invaders, and so Divim sounds his horn and prepares the veterans that they brought especially for this mission. Divim and Elric cover their eyes and listen to the sound of carnage. Irkun is surprised that the enemies continue to fight. The captain recognizes the men because he fought with them once. Veterans of old wars, all of them blind. The captain says that's a very cunning strategy. Irkun says Elric isn't cunning, a demon gave him the idea, but there are no demons stronger than what Irkun can control. If only he didn't exert all his power opening the Shade Gate, he could summon demons to do his battle. He wished he had the rune blades to kill his cousin. But then he started to think how Elric was so prepared. They summoned Ariok. Irkun himself couldn't do that, and he heard from below the cry of battle. Ariok, Ariok, blood and souls for my lord Ariok. Irkun makes his new plan. He orders the captain to smash the mirror. He has another way to conquer the Dragon Isle. A simple one. And in the Shade Gate he has allies. The captain, always the fatalist, went and broke the mirror. Elric, Divim, and the blind soldiers entered the building, and as the mirror was broke, their heads started to hurt. The captain fell from where the mirror was put and died. Once the mirror was broken, all the memories contained within broke out free, trying to conquer any mind open to them, screaming and wailing. Elric said his name over and over, using the same effort he used to summon Ariok to stop the voices and remain himself. The screaming stopped, and Elric found Divim, who still lived. They lost only a few of their men in that trap. They marched on in Irkun's palace, and found Cymero with swirls and runes drawn on her. Cymero tells Elric her brother put a rune spell that will put her into a deep slumber, and only Irkun can wake her up. Elric asks where his cousin went. He went through the Shade Gate to find the rune blades, Stormbringer and Mournblade. She tells her lover that Irkun made pacts with demons, and then she falls asleep. There was a certain peace upon her face. Elric and Divim go through a door and find the Shade Gate. A smell like the palace of the dead flows from the gate, and Elric vows to hunt down his cousin even if it takes an eternity.